What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Trash Talker. This is Arya, and this is the moment where I would play some intro music if this wasn't a new YouTube channel and I wasn't still working out the kinks of it. But bear with me. Today we're going to be talking about the NBA. And right now the NBA is in this state of purgatory where we have absolutely no idea if the 2020 season is going to return, or even if it does, what the playoffs are going to look like. Are there going to be fans in the stadiums? Will there be 5-game playoff series? Is it going to be some tournament style in Vegas? Or they're just going to get rid of the first round as a whole? We don't know. And it's also very possible that the season as a whole gets canceled and we don't have a conclusion to the 2020 NBA season. I mean, we've had a season and a champion crown each year since 1947. Losing that would be crazy. I mean, it's like skipping a birthday. Well, I guess if you were born on leap year, you would know what that's like. But the worst part about losing the season isn't that we're going to be bored out of our minds for the next several months with the only meaningful basketball we would have watched is the way back starring Ben Affleck. No, it's that from now on, for now until forever, honestly, there's going to be fans of certain teams that were contenders in the playoffs who are going to be saying, no matter what, oh, well, if the season didn't get canceled, we would have won the championship. And, you know, I'm not just talking about any fan here. This is like the irrational fan, and it's just going to be annoying to hear that for years on. So, you know, today I'm going to kind of go through some of these top playoff contenders and tell you exactly why your team wasn't going to win the NBA championship. Let's dive into it and start off with the Eastern Conference. The Milwaukee Bucks. Why are we acting like we haven't seen this movie before when it comes to this team? The Bucks have been great this season with the best record in the league, best net rating, and they were the quickest team to clinch a playoff berth under the current format. The regular season success means nothing, though. We saw it with the 2016 Warriors, who won 73 games, the regular season record, and couldn't finish the job. So, excuse me if I don't want to crown the Bucks champions because of net rating. Giannis might be the MVP, but we've seen it all before with an MVP leading a team to the best record in the NBA with a supporting cast that wasn't really ready for the playoffs. Remember the 09 Cavs, the 2010 Cavs, 2011 Bulls? How about 2019 Bucks last year? Chris Middleton isn't quite the level of a true number 2 option on a title team. I mean, look at the last couple of number 2 options on title teams. Steph Curry, when Kevin Durant was on the Warriors, Klay Thompson, Kyrie Irving, Dwayne Wade. Middleton is nowhere close to their level, and the Bucks are nowhere close to a title. Next team, the Toronto Raptors. Toronto, you had a great season. No one expected it. Before the season was postponed, Toronto had the 3rd best record in the whole league. If you had predicted that before the season, you're full of crap. Siakam took a leap. OG's been a solid part of the rotation, but let's not overcomplicate this. Toronto isn't winning anything in the playoffs without Kawhi. Like, in what world do you lose your best player, who was literally the Finals MVP a freaking year ago, and repeat as champions? Seriously, just say that out loud to yourself. Like, seriously. I mean, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Anyone who actually thought that this team was going to repeat or come out of the East is just trying to sound different because they don't want to be like everybody else by saying, oh, well, Milwaukee's going to win the East, Milwaukee's going to win the title, or one of the LA teams. This team was not winning the title. You don't lose your best player and do better the following year. I mean, Toronto is basically The Office in seasons 8 and 9 without Steve Carell, that 70s show in season 8 without Topher Grace and Ashton Kutcher. It just doesn't work. The Philadelphia 76ers, this was a team that everyone loved to pick before the start of the season as a title contender. They, hands down, have the most talent in the Eastern Conference, but the pieces of this puzzle fit worse than Shaq wearing a leotard. Horford's been a disastrous signing and has been bashed by Philadelphia media outlets left and right. Tobias Harris is overrated, but certainly not underpaid. Always a great combination, right? And I'm still waiting on someone to name one thing that Brett Brown is good at. The only reason why he's still the head coach is because the team was tanking for all those years, and then after they started to get all these talent and good pieces, they were like, well, let's let him coach the team. It wasn't his fault that we were tanking. That was what he was supposed to do. And yeah, it hasn't really worked out. I mean, when the only good thing you're really known for is your cool accent, that really speaks about your ability of a basketball coach. And then, of course, with Philly, we had to talk about their two stars, Simmons and Embiid, who couldn't be a worse fit together. Simmons can't shoot, which doesn't complement Embiid's game when he's trying to play out of the post. And Embiid isn't this center who can, be put in pick and rolls and catch lobs, which would really benefit Simmons. They're a match made in hell. They probably would be better off split up. It's like that couple who no one understands why they're together, and when they break up, things kind of work out better for both sides. They're like the Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson of the NBA. The Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum's February was incredible for Boston. He averaged 30 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, 49% field goal percentage, and the most interesting part to me, 48% from 3 on his way to his first All-Star team. He started arriving at the superstar level that everyone kind of thought he was going to be after his incredible rookie year when they made that playoff run. Jaylen Brown's had a good season as well. He arguably should have been an All-Star just like Tatum was. And he probably will be one day. But the Celtics' big problem is that, their top guys just aren't as good as some of the other top guys on the other contenders. I mean, Tatum and Brown are definitely a notch below some of the other wings, and I don't know if you could definitively say if the Celtics have a top 10 player or not. Probably not. I mean, Tatum would be right on the cusp of that. Kemba's never accomplished anything in the playoffs when he was in Charlotte, so I wouldn't count on him. And, the Celtics don't have a single guy who's going to make the All-NBA team at the moment, it seems. And it also hurts their chances that their best 5 guys, Smart, Tatum, Brown, Hayward, and Kemba, can't be played together. So, from the moment Kyrie left, this became Tatum and Brown's team. They're getting better. They are not on the level yet you need to be the best or the second best player on a title team. Maybe in the future for Boston, but this is probably too early of a year for this core to win the title. The Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers got 2 of the top 5 or 6 players in the league. Awesome. But here's why they're not going to win the title. JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. They don't have any depth. Danny Green is one of their key pieces. Could you even tell me one meaningful Danny Green moment from Toronto's playoff run last year? I mean, I can't. And I can remember Danny Green moments from when he was with the Spurs in 2013. But that was 7 years ago. He's washed now. Kuzma has no playoff experience. Are they really going to count on him in the playoffs? Everyone loves to say LeBron hasn't had a teammate as good as AD ever. First off, that's not entirely true, because he had Wade those first 2 Miami years, and Wade was just as good, or if not better, than Anthony Davis is now. Second, the point that no one's making is LeBron's never had a supporting cast of non-All-Stars worse than he does this season. Seriously. The roster on the Lakers, besides LeBron and Davis, is a bunch of washed-up role players, guys who peaked years ago. KCP has never peaked, and obviously Kuzma, like I already mentioned. And I'm still waiting on AD to show me something substantial in the playoffs. Beating that mediocre Portland team round 1 a couple years ago isn't cutting it. AD struggles when they don't have LeBron on the floor because the team they put together is so mediocre from a talent perspective that unless you're an all-time great like LeBron, anyone's going to struggle with that supporting cast. I mean, I don't know why we're all lying to ourselves and trying to act like Rob Pelinka put together a good roster after we were all bashing him for the last year. Anyways, LeBron can go full throttle in the regular season if he wants. He'll probably finish second in the MVP vote and get the assist title. But does that mean he's going to win a title with these guys around him? I say no chance. The Los Angeles Clippers. Full disclosure, this was my pick to win the title before the season started, and they probably still would have been my pick before the season suspension. Anyways, this might be the only team on this list who will actually benefit from not having fans come to their games. All season long, everybody was pointing out to the Clippers' lack of chemistry together, and when Patrick Beverley finally returned on February 24th against Memphis, the team finally was fully healthy and won 7 of their next 8 games. With the one loss being against that Lakers game, which was a couple days before the season was suspended. Although they looked good during that stretch, it's still a pretty small sample size. They're still, without question, the NBA's most cursed franchise. Well, I guess you can't really be cursed without any fans. They've never made a conference final. It's still one of those things where until you see it happen, it's hard to believe that it's going to happen. They're still the Clippers. It's really not that believable that 2 of the top 10 players in the league would sign there and they'd win a title all in 1 year. I mean, crazier things have definitely happened in sports, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, until the Clippers actually show something in the playoffs, that cloud of being the Clippers is going to hang over them. And, the most funny, sad, whatever you want to call it, scenario that could happen from this Kawhi-George combo on the Clippers is that this season gets canceled, and then they end up choking in the playoffs in 2021 next year in typical Clippers fashion, and then both players leave in the 2021 offseason. I mean, the Clippers literally gave up all these first-round picks, SGA, just to get Kawhi and Paul George together for one playoff run. I mean, that's wild. The Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets really remind me of the Bucks. Like Milwaukee, Denver only has one true superstar. They have a good coach, and they have a number 2 option who's not really quite at the level where you would think he's a no-brainer star, right? And both these teams are designed for regular season success. Milwaukee has the best record this year, had the best record last year. Denver's currently the 3rd seed in the West, and they were the 2 seed in the West last year. But the thing about Denver is, even though they're similar to the Bucks, they're just worse than them in every aspect. Jokic is not as good as a star player as Giannis. Mike Malone is a couple notches below Budenholzer as a coach. And Jamal Murray is definitely below Middleton in terms of being a number 2 player who's not quite at the true star tier yet. So in no world is Denver going to win a title when Milwaukee is doing a much better job using the same template. Think of this as a hotel. Hotels are basically the same in structure in terms of what they do and what they provide for the guests that come there, right? But, there's different stars to hotels. 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. They all still basically follow the same template. Now, when you have that in mind, imagine if there was a scenario where there's a Hotel of the Year award. And then imagine if you told yourself the Sheraton was going to win it over the Ritz-Carlton. That's the equivalent to saying Denver would win the title in a league where Milwaukee exists. The Houston Rockets. Remember when Houston flipped Clint Capella for Robert Covington, won 7 of their first 9 games with him, one of the losses being without Westbrook, and everybody was wondering if this micro-ball style could actually compete for a title? Yeah, that didn't last too long, because it was followed up by them losing 4 of their next 5 to pretty bad teams like the Hornets, the Magic, the Knicks. Look, the Warriors were the most successful team of the last decade, and they used their death lineup, micro-ball, whatever you want to call it, as a secret weapon as opposed to making it their primary lineup, which is what Houston is trying to do or has done. It's just not sustainable to use that lineup as much as the Rockets are doing it. The players are going to get tired out from it. And in case you needed further evidence for why the Rockets aren't going to win a title besides this unsustainable micro-ball lineup, let's look at the playoff histories of their top 2 players and their coach. Westbrook couldn't make it out of the first round without Durant and OKC. D'Antoni's known for his innovative offenses in Phoenix and Houston, but he's also just as well known for his playoff shortcomings and never making an NBA Finals. And then there's obviously James Harden, who at this point, his playoff shortcomings you can make a montage out of him. During the 2012 Finals, sitting on the bench during the Game 6 comeback in 2015 against the Clippers, his choke job in 2017 against the Spurs, and then maybe worst of all, which doesn't strike you as an obvious choke job, but last year when the Warriors lost Kevin Durant in Game 5 in the Western Conference semifinals, and Harden, while leading the Rockets, wasn't able to beat the Warriors, who were wounded after losing their best player when the series was already tied 2-2. To me, I don't see how anyone thinks this team's going to win a title based off the evidence we have. I mean, you probably have a better chance of getting that girl or guy who's ignored your last 3 Tinder messages to respond to you. We'll remember Harden's Rockets the same way we do Nash's Suns, Reggie's Pacers, Ewing's Knicks, Chris Webber's Kings, the Stockton Malone Utah Jazz. Good, but not good enough. Give up on the Rockets. They're not texting you back. The Utah Jazz. Do I even need to expand? All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. This was the first episode of the Trash Talker. Going to be having episodes coming out on a regular basis going forward. Please like, comment, subscribe. Wow, I really felt like a YouTuber saying that. And yeah, I think that's it. So until next time, see you later.